think we all know that it's a big challenge to wake up in the morning. I don't know about you, but I hit the snooze button at least 3 times, and then I have an internal debate with myself as to whether it's really necessary to get up and go to class. This happens every single morning, and it's always a huge risk because sleepy me is very different from the me that she becomes after about 15 minutes of being awake. This being said, waking up is a challenge. This reminds me of a quote from somebody who says that the only person you should ever compete with is yourself because you can't hope for a fair match. I think what someone is saying in this situation is that you should always challenge yourself. This is true for 2 reasons. Firstly, because when you persevere in challenging yourself, you succeed. And secondly, because challenging yourself makes you a better person. Let's first turn to my first point, which is that when you persevere in challenging yourself, you succeed. To illustrate this truth, let me tell you the story of Walter White. So Walter White has cancer, and instead of just wallowing away and dying in the hospital, Walter decides to really challenge himself and make money for his family. And he challenges himself in the way of making meth for money. And while he's doing this, he is presented with a lot of problems he probably never anticipated having. Problems like crazy drug dealers trying to kill him and partners who just aren't reliable. But Walt always challenges himself in this, and he always finds a way to persevere in making the meth and making the money, which he says is for his family. So as you can see, and he becomes very successful. He makes millions and millions of dollars, more than he even knows what to do with. So as you can see, when you persevere in challenging yourself, you really do succeed. Another example of this is in the story of San Juan and the Lady of Guadalupe. If you're familiar with this traditional Catholic story, you'll know that Juan, a poor Mexican worker, could only go to Mass about a few miles away. So every morning he would wake up very, very early and walk up a mountain to go to Mass. And at times he would wonder if it was really worth it, to walk all the way up this mountain and attend the Mass. And one day, the Lady of Guadalupe, portrayed over here on the door, appeared to Don Juan and said, "Juan, it is worth it, and you should build a church here." And so, in a great sense, Juan really succeeded in that effort that he did in persevering to go to Mass every day, because he was able to have a vision of the Mother of God, and she gave him some really great instructions, which he persevered in following through with a lot of difficulty because the bishop was putting up some problems. And he succeeded because of his perseverance, and everyone throughout the world, every Catholic throughout the world, is very grateful for his perseverance in this. So as you can see, it is certainly true that when you persevere in challenging yourself, you succeed. Another reason that you should always challenge yourself is that challenging yourself actually makes you a better person. To illustrate this, let me remind you of the character Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec. If you've watched Parks and Rec, you'll know that Leslie is a very, very hard worker. She always challenges herself in working at the Pawnee Parks Department. And one of the greatest challenges she had was when the government actually shut down, and she had to throw this huge harvest festival to actually earn money for the government. Usually festivals like this, at the very least, break even. But she said, "I will actually make you money, so give me a chance." So Leslie worked really, really, really hard to put this harvest festival on, and she was right, she made money. And that hard work is very evident in her own character because she is a really good person. All of that hard work also applies to her personal relationship. She works really hard in all of her friendships and in everything she does. She works really hard for her mom and to make sure that relationship is cultivated. So as you can see, challenging yourself really does make you a better person. Another illustration of challenging yourself making you a better person is in Dorothy Day. if you're at all familiar with Dorothy Day, you'll know that she is a great woman from the 1920s is when she was most active. 1920s through the 60s, actually. She had lived a very long and active life. And this woman actually started the Catholic worker movement, in which her goal was to raise money and house the homeless people that were growing and growing in numbers during the Great Depression. So she had no money herself. She had no job. She didn't have anything. But she did have her cousin's house. And so she, in her great faith, just welcomed homeless people into her cousin's house. And from that moment, the entire Catholic worker movement was built upon. And now, am I like way late?
You're 5:39. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I figured I was. So as you can see, you should always challenge yourself, as I do every morning when I wake up. I thought I was, but I was like, he's not giving me time signals,
I'm
so I was
sorry,
just like,
I totally blanked.
it's okay.